Good morning. There's my phone ting, and that's how professional I am. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because you might be watching this on playback, because we're live. We're live across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn now as well. We've got LinkedIn now on the Invest South Tyneside account. I'm going to turn my phone off. This is really unprofessional. This will be you guys telling me that I'm live. This is what happens when I go live. You'll go out and see it. Like,
I'm glad it was you rather than me.
Lovely for you to join us. We are talking about South Tyneside Pledge. I've got some notes here because people might say, what is the pledge? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a preamble, Geoff, but then I want you to talk to us about what that means to you. So we've got a few guests from local businesses. Of course, we've got South Shields chairman with us, Geoff Thompson, kicking us off. See what I did there? Thanks, mate. Really, it's the last one. I won't do any more then.
Well done.
And then we've got Michael Dickson from Dickson's. We've got Carl Buckley from Urban River. And then we've got Charlotte Brown from the Port of Tyne. But more importantly, I want you to let us know you're here. We can see who's here, Geoff. So on the right-hand side, you'll see comments. So if anyone comments, they can let us know that they're here and we can throw their comment on screen. So shout out, be sure to shout out your business, let us know you're here, and we'll throw you up on screen. And actually, in terms of shout outs, I think we've got about 35 companies that have signed up the pledge already. I'm going to give them a shout out, but also check this out, Geoff. You're going to love this. Watch this bad boy. We've got a little banner and all the companies that have signed up that are going to roll for a little while on the screen. And who we got? Someone just commented there. Who we got? Victoria. Looking forward to this meeting. Thank you for organising it. You are more than welcome, Victoria. Thank you so much. If you've got a business here in the borough, let us know. Give it a shout out. Drop your URL in as well. Give us your website address. You can pledge to join this pledge. Let's have a look. I've got another banner here. And there it is. Now, what is the pledge? Well, I've got a few notes here. It aims to encourage South Tyneside organisations to focus on local activities and practical steps such as local procurement and recruitment that can help South Tyneside to thrive. Now, you're going to tell us all about that, Geoff, because you'll do a much better version than I have of that. But before we do that, I'm going to shout out these wonderful companies. Cellpack Solutions have signed up. Our Eddie, friend of the show. Coleman's, my friends at South Tyneside Homes, Tyne Coast College, our very own Customs House. Did you go and see Rapunzel?
Sadly, I didn't, and Ray will be very annoyed with me for admitting that. But it sounds like you had a bit of a challenge throughout the whole campaign. It was. You had a few, well, even a power cut as well as COVID.
I know, and I tell you what it is, we went on the last day, and Ray couldn't make the last day.
Yeah, I heard he was.
I know, yeah. So, but it was brilliant as always.
And absolutely, sign a great job.
Yeah, sign up for next year's Panto. I'm sure it'll be released soon. Groundwork South Tyneside and Sunderland NHS Foundation Trust, South Tyneside Clinical Commissioning Group. Well done. Tyne and Weir Fire and Rescue. Port of Tyne, Zenith People, South Shields FC, of course, MI Dickson Limited, Urban River, Far North, little plug there, Training and Care, Inspire South Tyneside, UTS Engineering, Sea Change Cafe and Arts Venue, wonderful venue there, Hitachi Construction Machinery, Pentagon Assurance, Coot O'Grady, Northern Rights, and one more than two, Borough, round the corner. Have you sampled some of their ales,
Yeah,
Geoff?
Indeed. We have them at the football club.
Mm-hmm. If our Chris is watching, be sure to comment, Chris. Right, look at all this. There we've got our Jane there from the HR department. Morning, Ian and Geoff. Aaron, looking forward to talk. Aaron's with Cellpack, so you were first on the list. Aaron, well done. Who else have we got? We're working hard at Prospect House. Excellent, safe space for small business support as well as broader community projects. Wonderful, thanks for sharing that. So you can see we've got our crew with us today. They're all here. Victoria is also from Prospect House. Thanks for that. Renovating a factory building. Wonderful stuff. A creative hub. Do you know much about that, Geoff?
I don't, I'm afraid, no.
It's good though, isn't it? Because
but it's great. Some fantastic initiatives.
There is. And when I say that you know about that and you don't you just want to know more? We should be shouting,
absolutely.
Shouldn't we?
Well, actually, that's one of the things I think I'd like to get across today.
Mm-hmm.
That, there's so many great things that are going on, and perhaps we're not good at actually that self-promotion as a borough. You know, we're not good at shouting out loud, you know, some of our successes.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So that's why we're here. That's why we want to do the pledge. So why don't we go on to that then? So what is the pledge, and Geoff? So, you know, you've been in there from the kind of the outset. You know, you are really passionate about the borough. What does the pledge mean to you? What's it all about?
Well, I got to hear about it initially because I'm involved with South Tyneside Economic Regeneration Board. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the first sort of ideas were presented to that board a number of months ago. So for me, having seen it at that early stage, it just made a lot of common sense, you know. One of the things I said at the time was I didn't feel it should be a public sector nor council-led initiative. And I'm pleased to see that that isn't the case. If you look at that list of organisations there, you know, there's a whole range of different sizes and types, public sector, health, you know, smaller startups, etc. Mm-hmm. So it's important that the pledge, for me at least, that we see it as applying to every single organisation, business, large or small, public or private sector. So that's the first point I'd make. And then I think, you know, it's really about, I use the phrase common sense, but, you know, if we're going to make an economic impact on our own borough and our own town, then who is responsible for delivering that? It's not necessarily the council, although the council can certainly help and enable, but it's really down to us as residents, as business people, and indeed as employees. It's about promoting our own town, our own borough, and making sure that we're on the front foot and doing all that we can to drive that economic prosperity. I couldn't get my teeth in there.
I knew you'd do better than me. Mic drop. Just drop that, mate. Wonderful. Thanks so much. Perfect. So in terms of the club then, is the club took us on? Actually, there it is. Look at this. I've got your certificate.
Well done. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you sign the pledge, you're going to get a certificate.
Absolutely. I look forward to putting it on the wall.
So what has the club done then? You know, have they took this on forward?
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of the things that are written within the pledge are consistent, entirely consistent with the club's own mission, values, beliefs, what the club's trying to achieve. So yes, it's about economic activity. It's also, from a football club perspective, about civic pride. You know, I've been involved at the club now since 2015, and for me, bringing the club back to South Shields and to South Tyneside was, you know, an imperative. And what we've tried to do over that period of time since 2015 is continually grow the club, invest in the club, invest in the people involved in the club. So my point is, you know, part of the pledge is about civic pride, which I think the football club can certainly help to deliver. It's also about economic activity. You know, as the club grows and develops, we've got more and more people who are employed by the club. Equally, we're now a full-time professional club as well in terms of the first team. We employ a lot of people, obviously, in back office and during match day and match day hospitality. And indeed, the football club's own charitable foundation. I set the foundation up about 3 or 4 years back now, led by Steve Cam, who does a fantastic job. There's so many people involved within the foundation as well, you know, parents, volunteers, and, you know, approaching 1,000 kids now involved in sport and activity, not just football, but everything from dance, boxing, etc. So my point is, I don't want to just waffle too much about the football club, but I'm trying to demonstrate that all that the club's trying to do to drive civic pride, but also trying to drive economic activity, employ people from the borough, encourage spend in the borough. That fits perfectly with what the football club's already doing, one could argue, but trying to do more of. So the pledge really, for me, just sort of reinforces that message about those important parameters.
It's interesting, but we talked about the Customs House earlier on. You know, some of these hubs we've got, likes of the club, they're so important to the community. I mean, you said to me earlier on, I haven't seen you at the club for a while. It brings people in. You see faces, don't you? You see us all coming together, and it's so important that, A, we need to support them, but also B, they need to be there. You know, some of the people who are watching now are creating these hubs to bring the community together. You know, you touched upon the beer there, you know, Chris, at One More Than Two. Again, you're buying beer locally as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
When Chris put that brewery in there in the tap room, again, it's a place for people to visit, to see each other. And obviously, we've had a really tough time this last couple of years. Being able to come together again is really so important, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, if you look at some of these sort of economic indicators, you could argue that we're a little bit behind the eight ball. You know, the South Tyneside and the Northeast generally, you know, we've got sadly higher unemployment, arguably maybe slightly less than the national standards in terms of sort of academic and qualification experience for kids coming out of school and colleges. And I could list a number of indicators that say, well, you know, we've got a lot to do. But my earlier point was that the people who are responsible for delivering that are the very people who live and work and run businesses in the borough. It's down to us to try and drive that prosperity. It's down to us to try and initiate change, to drive some improvement. There isn't somebody sitting in the town hall, notwithstanding the great work that they do, but, you know, it's not somebody else's responsibility is my point. It's down to us. We need to drive this agenda. And I think the pledge is a great way of just kind of, as I said earlier, encapsulating all that we should be doing to try and drive that economic agenda and indeed the whole civic pride, employment, etc., etc.
You know, mindset that I've got, I always say to myself, no one's coming to save us.
Yeah.
So it's on us, isn't it? You know, we've got to do it, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's so easy to sort of sit back and argue, well, you know, all of these things are against us. And by the way, you know, there are people who are, you know, are in tough times and tough conditions. And I'm not decrying that. You know, we've got to do all we can to help and support people. But equally, it's down to, as I say, us as residents, business owners, employees, you know, whether it's, you know, where do we spend our money, you know, socially, you know, let's try and spend more of it proportionally with shops, restaurants and bars in the borough, you know. So it's all those little practical things that I think make a difference. So the point I'm trying to make there is, yes, it's not easy for certain individuals. I'm not suggesting it is, but it's about doing your little bit to try and drive that improvement.
You know, I was talking to a lovely lady yesterday, Rebecca, from a company called Inflation Creation. Again, we've seen such innovation. She started a balloon business.
Right.
Fantastic. And she was talking about the club, and she was wanting to make a mascot out of balloons for the club, you know. So these hubs we've got are so important because businesses want to interact with each other. So we've also got a bit of a, I don't know what, we've got a, we have as business leaders a commitment to people as well to you know, as you said there, to employ them, to engage with them, to listen to them, because it's tough sometimes from small businesses, certainly a micro business, where you're trying to engage with maybe a larger company and you face that kind of brick wall. What's your thoughts on that openness and transparency to listen to the small businesses? Because that's where innovation comes from, Geoff, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very good question, Ian. I think, well, one thing I'd say is, if you forgive again the link to the football club, but, you know, we've got some fantastic sponsors at the club, and many of them are small, you know, entrepreneurial-led businesses. Some of them larger, but some of them smaller, and they recognise the importance of them kind of supporting the club and what the club's trying to achieve. And indeed, you know, the club's got a responsibility to our sponsors to help promote their businesses. So it's a kind of reciprocal relationship, really. For smaller businesses, yes, I mean, I've been sort of self-employed since I was about my late 20s, many years ago now. So I kind of know how difficult it can be. Yeah. And, you know, there isn't any sort of silver bullet or magic wand, but it's about tenacity, you know, persistence, hard work, bumping into the right people, and indeed, back to your point and what the pledge is all about, working in a supportive environment where everybody's trying to help one another, you know, trade with one another. That has to be a positive and good thing. Yeah,
definitely. Good stuff. Well, thanks for your time, Jesse. As you can see at the top there, we've got 2 likes.
Oh, well.
And that's not good enough. So I want you to show Geoff some love. I don't want to like, you want some love, don't you? So I want to see some hearts appear. And what you can do as well, you can share this, okay? Share this to your friends. Share this on your network if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. Drop us a comment, share us, give us some support. You know, we're trying to get this out to the wider network. So Geoff, thanks so much for your time.
Not at all.
What we're going to do, it's a bit like a doctor's waiting room here. You're going to leave the room, and we're going to bring in Michael from Dickson's. Please be careful of the leads.
Indeed.
Is there anything you want to leave us with before you go?
No, as I say, just a final point to just encourage everybody to participate and get involved and support it. And, you know, the ownership has to start with us. So I've repeated that point a few times, but that would be my underlying message. And perhaps finally a little plug for South Shields. Let's make sure everybody gets down to the football club as often as they can. Bring a friend and enjoy your afternoon down there.
Good stuff. Well, thanks so much, Geoff. You can see that you're starting to receive some love now. You see the hearts at the top there. So well done. Thank you so much. And you, sir. There you go. There's a nice certificate for you, which you can pop on the wall. Thank you. That was our Geoff there from South Shields FC. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring in Michael. Again, in the comments, please let us know you're here. There's Ian there. Nice to see you, Ian, and Happy New Year to you, sir. Victoria. Excellent. Good stuff, Victoria. Get in and see Geoff. Very open business is South Tyneside South Shields Football Club. So yeah, get in there. Right, we've got Mike. Here's our Michael. Come on, Michael, jump in there. Don't you worry. You can come in and take a seat. Please watch the wires, Michael, as you come in. Right, we've got Michael from Dickson. So give him some love again. Get this shared. Pop yourself in there, sir. Any questions from Michael? He will take anything. All right, he's going to answer. And put in the comments one word, actually, what Dickson's means to you. Okay, let's see what word association we can get. Hello, sir.
Hello, Ian. Nice to meet you.
Andy, thanks for your time today. We're talking about South Tyneside Pledge. Our Geoff's just been in there. And we've got a bunch of people commenting on the right-hand side. You can see these comments here. There you go. Look. So we've got people throwing up comments. Great to see us all interacting today live. We love Dickson's pies. There's Jane from HR department. So are you just regional, Michael?
We are, but it's a fair sized region. I mean, although we've got 30 retail shops, and predominantly they're within Tyne and Weir. We do go as north as Bedlington and as south as Peterlee, but through our wholesale arm, we supply 8, I think it is, of the national retailers on a regional basis. So our product will appear probably, Berwick, Middlesbrough, North Yorkshire.
Right.
And in fact, when some of my children were still at university or later working away, they've come across our product in Manchester and Leeds and who knows why, because we're only listed regionally.
Well, that's where I was going to ask you. Actually, do me a favour, grab that microphone, Michael, and put it a little bit closer to you like that so all our friends at home can hear. Okay. That's why I asked you about, I said just regional. I said that because my friend lives in Sale in Manchester, and when I go down to see David, I've got to take Savoy's for him, right?
All right.
And I have to take Vindaloo as well from Ocean Road. Okay. And he said that to me before that he's seen product down there, so that's really interesting.
Well, our youngest son Matt, who was he's a medic, and his first job was in Manchester. He rang one night feeling a bit homesick and quite moved because he'd seen some of our pies in the Sainsbury's down there. So
right. Wonderful.
How they end up on that end of the supply chain is a bit of a mystery, and it just depends on truck routes, I presume. So.
Maybe. Well, listen, there's a shout out for you, look, for the Fowler Street branch. Apparently the friendliest team ever.
That's probably a relation of one of the staff in Fowler Street.
No, it's not. So
they're all friendly.
They are indeed. Look, and apparently the Leggett shop's the best, Eddie thinks now. So there's a fight on here.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, Eddie's quite partial because I've seen him at the Hot Stop as well.
Yes, the Hot Stop. Is that still going?
Well, Hot Stop's doing.
Is it? Yeah, fantastic. Because I did a bit of work with South Tyneside Homes for a number of years, and as I'd come in Middlefields, I'd see it there, and I'm tempted, have I got 5 minutes before the meeting starts to nip in? Yeah.
Well, there's a temporary unit on there at the moment because we're hoping to put a more modern piece on the site in the next couple of months.
There you go. We love the Savoy dips. We do indeed. Right then, pledge.
So, what do you want to know?
What does it mean to you, Michael? So you've signed on the pledge. You've got a number of businesses, as you can see, they're kind of rolling along the bottom. I think we're up to 35. And from my point of view, I want everyone to sign up today, right? I've put a bit of a target on my head. I want another 20 odd today, just from this live, to sign up. And so we've got all these businesses signed up. it will probably mean different things to different people. So we've had Geoff in there, obviously talking about the club and what it means to the club, and of course Geoff. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, I accept that, and I think that looking at all the subheadings and challenges that you face in signing up to the pledge, there's a degree to which you'd think that, well, some are going to be more appropriate to some businesses than others. And I think that's pretty well inevitable. I suppose from our perspective as a family business that takes a longer view, and we established a family council which comprised the current family directors and other family members to try to ensure that the business has a legacy into the next generation and the generation beyond. So we're taking a fairly long view. Within that, we often refer to the virtuous circle, the interdependence of the good folk we employ, with our suppliers, our all-important customers, and of course the family shareholders. It's something that has to work for everybody. It's an interlinked project, if you like, and much of the values and beliefs that we have in our family constitution are probably reflected or chime with many of the elements of the pledge. So I just believe you need to be invested in the place you call home, and that was the main driver in agreeing to sign up to the pledge.
And how long have you been going now? How long?
Nearly 70 years.
70 years. Who founded the business?
It was my mother and father, and that began with a single pork shop on Prince Edward Road, which initially was home as well as business.
Right.
Because there's quite a substantial flat above the property.
Yeah. So your parents then, from thinking right back to 70 years ago, were their values very much a local business for local people? And
very much so. I mean, that's this would simply be a vehicle to feed your family. It would be no more complicated than that. And they were both from fairly humble backgrounds, and even the step of creating your own business was a major one.
Yeah.
But it didn't go beyond that. So the problem came, if you like, when maybe 20 years after that, after its original foundation, my father died. My mother became quite ill, and it was suddenly my sister Chris and I who were propelled into the unfortunate position of sink or swim, and that was a hard school to grow up in, I can assure you.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's lots of micro businesses, Michael, here with us live now watching this, and that story is a common one, I would imagine, where sometimes you find yourself, as you say, I'm in sink or swim, and you know, Geoff just mentioned that as well. It's hard, you know, starting a business. So for all the small businesses out there who look at, you know, some of the larger businesses that we have in the borough and some of the more well-known ones, what do they mean to you, Michael? Is there anything from a pledge point of view where you can, you know, look to support them, look to buy local, employ local, that kind of thing?
I think that is the case, and we do indeed use a fair number of local suppliers. The big number items, or the sort of stuff that we do, you know, we can really get on a regional basis rather than something locally.
Yeah.
There aren't any flour mills in South Tyneside, for example. You know.
There's a gap in the market.
So yeah, well, I suppose you could bring some wheat in through Port of Tyne, but the smaller number items, even if we can do that, we do. We've worked with a lot of local firms for a long time. Yeah. But there is a limit. There's no point in being romantic about it, because it'll just not work for our sort of scale or for the specialisms we get involved in, you know. Yeah. But I mean, there's a major local food ingredient supplier just in Hebburn who we've dealt with for time immemorial.
Right.
Really, you know.
Excellent.
So, and smaller vegetable suppliers, for example. So yes, we are engaged in the local community in that way.
So from other businesses watching this right now, is there anything you might want to say to them to encourage them to sign the pledge or support?
Well, no more than, be invested in the place you call home, I think is probably the only thing that I would suggest. I think there's, you see and hear with horror really when folk are keen to run down their town. I don't mean specifically South Tyneside, but the worst place in Britain, and there's almost a perverse pleasure in becoming the worst of the worst, and which is quite sad, really. And I do think that I understand people's frustration that, for example, things like the shopping centres in South Tyneside are on the decline. But I mean, I'm in my car most days and visiting our sites, and it is no different anywhere else. It's a right across the UK. It's a pan-European problem.
Yeah, you're right.
And before that, it was a US thing. But I think there's been an awful lot of positive things done in the borough over the last 20 years, and some massive changes, and there's some really good things happening, particularly in the town centre in the next 5. So I feel quite optimistic about it. I do, and I would really, ask people to consider signing up and getting involved.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm optimistic as well, and there's our Craig there talking about Borden Lane. Lots of people are using your stores across the borough, which is great to see. And you've got some of these like larger supermarkets now, but I think the trend is to go to the small kind of artisan, use the small businesses when we can, rather than the bigger boys. Have you come across that?
Well, that's an interesting one, because we've got a wide range of shops with very different overhead structures in very different shopping areas, and I suppose that we've seen that almost micro local works. So in the last 10 years, we've opened probably about 8 sites that are in quite off the beaten track sites in housing estate positions and so forth, because that's where there tends to be a need for small regular purchases. The days when probably in my mother and father's day, where people would use one of our sites, well, there were only 2 of them at the time, and they'd buy, I don't know, mince or a pork chop one day, and then be in the next day for some ham for husband's sandwiches for work, or whatever it was, or an impulse purchase of a hot sandwich. Are really diminished, and because people do big number shops once or twice a week, so the footfall on the high streets changed out of sight. And it's not going to come back. So we've got to adapt to put ourselves in a place where people want to make those sorts of purchases. And I think we've done that reasonably successfully.
Wonderful. Good stuff. Well, I've got a certificate for you. And I will swap this for a corned beef pie.
Well, it depends how big you want.
One of them plate pies, of course. Come on,
All right. Okay.
Thank you very much for signing the pledge, Michael, and for your support in the borough. And you're one of ours. I think you've got a lot of supporters there, and it means a lot to people in the region, doesn't it?
Well, it's an interesting statement you just made, because when you say one of us, my mother was German.
Right. Okay.
I'm married to an Italian.
Right.
And I have a daughter-in-law from Nepal. So,
brilliant.
But we're all proud Geordies.
Yeah. Well, when I say you one of ours, the business is one of ours, because it's here, and hopefully that's where it's going to stay for another 70 years and some.
And beyond.
And beyond.
And beyond.
Good, ma'am. Thanks so much for your time, Michael.
All right.
Okay. Again, if you could let our next victim in, guest in, and we'll hear from Carl Buckley.
I will do that.
Right. Thank you very much, sir.
Good to speak to you, Ian. Thank you.
Good stuff. Right then, that was Michael from Dickson. So again, feel free to sign that pledge. You can see there's a URL on the bottom there, the web link. There's our Jane. We do like a certificate. Well, if Lindsay's watching, Lindsay might bring you personally a certificate. She might even frame it for you. Jane, I didn't even get a certificate, right? And there's Victoria with a certificate and a pie. What have I started? Oh, my word. Everybody wants pies now. I've promised people pies. What have I done? Nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
I am going to pour myself a coffee. You might not know this. Last time we went live, Misha made me a coffee, and just before I went to press live, she pressed down on the plunger on my cafetiere, and coffee went everywhere.
Not good.
Not good. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm fine. Good to be here.
We've been hearing from Geoff from the club.
Yep.
We've heard from Michael from Dickson's. Michael did not bring me a pie. Can you believe that?
No.
Unbelievable.
Not good at all.
We've had a bit of a competition on our favorite site from Dickson's. So we've had we've had Fowler Street, we've had Borden Lane. What about you?
King Street.
Street. Because it's near your gap, isn't it?
Next door, but 6, I think, from where we're based. Yeah.
So there's our Jane saying you're looking dapper.
Thank you, Jane.
And this is what I get. You've washed your hair for this one from Chris. So, we've got friends in the borough, haven't we? We've got business friends.
We have.
Right, business friends. Have you clicked like, or actually love, because we want to see hearts appear. And I want you to click share as well. Okay, because we're talking about your borough, your pledge. This is not ours, this is yours. So share the love. I want this to reach as many as we can, and I want you to sign up for this pledge. I put a bit of a target. I said to Lindsay, I went, don't worry, we'll get another 20 odd people signed up today, no probs. So the web address is on the bottom there for people to sign up. Again, use the comments. Let us know you're here. We'll shout out your business. I did a big roll call.
Excellent.
Roll called everyone, and also we've got a banner showing everybody who's signed up for the pledge. So it's worth doing because I'm going to go through what we get. You get a logo to use. Good for PR as well. Okay, we will try and support you as much as we can. It's a good commitment to corporate social responsibility. Attend useful events. So we're going to be doing business week soon. We've got procurement advice events, meet the buyer kind of stuff, skills and careers. We'll be doing all of that. Some tools as well. We're going to be trying to create some tools for you, toolkits for business from the skills team. Engaging with schools as well. Council advice in terms of how to recruit care leavers, people with SEN, how to sign up to Better Health at Work. There's loads, absolutely stacks going on. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot planned going forward, partner advice, encouraging people to volunteer as well. Volunteering is so important. It's the backbone of Britain. Very, very important. So there's loads going on, Carl. So in terms of the pledge, why did you sign up? What does it mean to you?
Okay. We're a South Tyneside or South Shields based business, and it's our 20th year trading. And I think that for me, I think it's not just about business. This is about making South Tyneside a better place. I think it's about making it, a better place to live, work, and do business. And I think it's one of those things that we will get out of it what we actually put in. No, we don't want to isolate South Tyneside here, because I think that would be a real sort of issue. But I think that what we do need to do is now more than ever is really look after what we're doing and think South Tyneside first. Everybody in South Tyneside, we know that we punch above our weight. We've always done that, whether that's development, whether that's the quality of businesses, whether that's just the way we go about things. We also know that maybe controversially that certain areas of the Northeast might view South Tyneside as perhaps a little bit second division, which I think that probably boils our blood for those of us in the borough, because we, those that know. And I think that it's doing our bit. This will not work with 10, 20, 30 businesses just signing up and ticking a box. And this isn't about ticking a box. This is, I think the analogy I use is this is a jigsaw puzzle, and we're all parts and we're all pieces. It doesn't matter on the size of your business. No one piece is more important than the other, but collectively we can all do our bit. So we've signed up from a point of view of we do want to practice what we preach. We want to recruit locally. We took on 2 new members of staff last summer, and they both actually live in South Tyneside, which is good. We don't personally do a lot of work in South Tyneside, which is a real shame, because I'm pretty sure there's enough business for all of us to keep us all very busy in the borough. And I think we've also been guilty in the past of buying services from out of the borough, when perhaps we should just think, it's about leveling up the playing field. I think, I think that the council are doing some, have got some really ambitious plans. I think that we look at the city, or the centre developments that are going on. And I think that if we wind the clock forward sort of 10 years, I honestly think South Tyneside will be a very, very different place, and very different place from a positive point of view. And I think that, as I say, both the business community and personally, we've all got something to give to that. It's a civic pride. I mean, I run a business in South Shields. I do live in South Tyneside. I live in East Bolden. It's somewhere that I'm proud to call home. Obviously, I'm not a local, if you like. I'm from Manchester originally, dare I say, but I've lived here now for approaching 23 years, and do view the place as home. So I think that it's different things for different people, but for us, it's to, I guess, buy and sell and collaborate. We are collaborating. We've collaborated on projects. We're collaborating with some other businesses in the borough on projects, which is great. We're recruiting locally. We are looking to buy services locally. But then, I think that there's a supply chain there, because if you recruit people, they obviously spend, they live, it creates, it keeps the economy going, and they're earning money in the borough, and they're spending money in the borough in one way or another. We know we've got a great place, but as I say, that this for me, it really needs a good kick. And I think if we get it right, this can actually be the glue to pull everything together, so that we can, really, really make a difference. If this is going to be about ticking boxes and paying lip service, let's just can it now. But I know that the businesses that have got involved are all doing it for the right reasons. Sorry, long answer.
It's brilliant. It was brilliant. Go for it.
That wasn't planned.
No, I totally agree. And I think there has been a theme today, Carl. It's on us, and this is what we've said. It's ours, and you do have to get involved. It's our borough. I mean, look at, we're school governors.
Yeah.
We're enterprise advisors as well. I'm a trustee of a charity, but you have to try to get involved. It's just, we've got.
I think it's top to bottom, isn't it? I think that we know. Again, we know. And those are people that know me know that I bang on about this, if you like. But we know that the Northeast again gets kicked by the rest of the country, and this isn't about us just sitting back. We've got to get up and do something about it. Yeah. We know that there are, in some cases, some lower aspirations. We know all the issues that are going on. But it's about actually putting a little bit of time back into it as well. And it's not about thinking, oh, I'm not good enough to do that. Do you know what? Everybody can support everybody else. And as you say, whether you're a school governor, whether you just, to be honest, even if you go and do a bit of mentoring in a school, you go and share some experiences with other people in business. You might even, you might go and do some work in perhaps for a charity. You might even, to my mind, even walking down the street and picking up a bit of litter,
beach cleanups, that sort of thing,
is actually doing your bit for the pledge. And that's what I say. I don't think that, because I think that once we go down the total business road, that will isolate anybody else that perhaps isn't in business as such. And this really should be widened out to a pledge for every single person that actually lives in South Tyneside. You know, I think one of the great things clearly that Geoff is doing with the football club is to really give some sort of civic pride. And it isn't just about what's going on. I don't want to steal his thunder, but it isn't just about what's going on the pitch. This is about creating an infrastructure and a connector and bringing people together. I'm a governor at Epinay school, and I was made aware last week that one thing that the football club are doing is they're providing a week's work experience for the youngsters across the board. So some are shadowing the chairman, some are looking at the grounds, some are working in the catering, and these are all individuals with educational special needs who in many cases are just sort of sidelined. So that in itself for me is a really, really positive thing, and it's about raising all our aspirations. You know, why can't we shoot for the stars rather than just say, oh, well, we're South Tyneside, aren't we? Well, so what? You know, we've all chosen to live here. We've all chosen to work here. We all chose to make this our base. So let's make the most of it.
You've choose to relocate here from Manchester.
Yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. And you know, and as I've said, for me, it's a really well kept secret. And selfishly, I'd rather keep it that way, because when you think of a place, you can actually get around, you can travel around. You're 5 minutes from the beach one way, you're 5 minutes from, you know, the countryside the other. We've got a good transport infrastructure. We've got everybody is very approachable. I've always said that there is. I mean, I had a meeting with the new chief executive just before Christmas. I couldn't hope to have that meeting with the chief exec of Manchester City Council, regardless of the size. That just wouldn't happen. So that actually says a lot to me. It tells me that, you know, that the council are all ears. This is not about business and the council. This is about a team. This is about, we're all in this together. You know, we're all, let's use another sports analogy, you know, we're all players on the same team here. It's not about the council doing their bit, not about businesses doing that. We're all shoulder to shoulder. And this is something that success of this will come from us all listening, sharing, and learning. You know, there's a real, when you think about it, you can see there's a passion here, because there's so much energy and so many skills and you know, and within these businesses that we can harness that. There's actually nothing that we can't achieve.
I totally agree. You know, there's Eddie there from Cellpack, who's also signed up. Thanks, Eddie, for signing up. I've been in the new ship, you know, just obviously for a bit of research about beer, and Eddie's in the back with his chess club. You know, we've all got stuff going on. There's Chris from One More Than Two around the corner at Porterbury Street there, who built a brewery and a tap room. All the lads who helped out were local lads, and they helped them build the decking, level the floor, you know, put dolomite down, and they built it with Chris. These are all community sort of projects, and they're coming together.
Why don't we? Here's an idea for in addition to the pledge, and I understand that this might be difficult for some businesses or for some people, but why don't we all as individuals commit to chip in a certain amount of time? Now that may only be, I don't know, it might, even if it was a day every 6 months or a day a month or whatever. I mean, a day a month's a lot, I accept that, but maybe say a day every 3 months. Let's chip that in to a bucket, and let's other people use that time, you know, and give us and that could be a real sort of pledge. So not only do we just sort of pledge, yeah, I'm ticking this, I'm getting my piece of paper, I'm getting my logo, you know, well, that's great, and that's the seal. But if we all do something like that, then I could chip in, you know, I'll happily chip in some time. And if somebody wants to use doesn't matter whether that's as a professional, they want to use my skills, or they want me to just go and, help lay flags for a day. I think that could be a really good thing and could sort of bring us together.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Invest team would echo that, because there's lots of work being done there behind the scenes, and we need to also meet them halfway and come to events, support them, sign for the pledge, even jump on this live right now, support what we're trying to do here, sharing it out to your networks, telling people around the corner. Do you ever watch those lives on Facebook? They're really good, I hope. We've got to kind of share and support one another.
Yeah.
Good. And I think people are echoing that as well. Community activities help improve their lives post-pandemic. A really good point. Thanks for that.
No, it is.
We've had a tough time. So yeah, I think not want to bang too much about the pandemic, but I think it really sort of separated us all. Now it's time to come back together as a collective and maybe stronger, because we know the power and we know what we've missed.
Yeah, I was just discussing there in the green room with Michael that I think the one thing with the whole pandemic, and as you say, we don't want to make too big a thing of it, but just this quick point, the whole thing about the pandemic is, whether personally or professionally, we've all been touched by it. And I think it's one of those things which in some ways is quite a positive thing, that we haven't actually done anything wrong. I think if you'd actually made a mistake and that had led to this, you would probably find it harder to deal with. Yeah. And we're all in this together, and Michael and I were having a little chit chat there, and it was in many ways, it was quite nice for me personally to understand that he's dealing with his issues and problems, and he's a much bigger, much more well-developed business than we are, of course, but we're all dealing with our sort of stuff here. And I think that, I've got a personal view that the fallout from the pandemic, not from a health point of view, just from and I don't necessarily want to get onto well-being, but from a well-being point of view, I think will probably last 3 to 5 years. I think there's a lot of pent-up stuff there that just will not come out. So I think that there's a great opportunity for us all to kind of share the fact that we've been in this. And I don't mean from a happy clappy thing. I just mean from a, let's try and, the world is a different place, we know that, but let's try and sort of support and be a little bit kind of nicer, because I honestly, I think when it all happened, I think the world was a very, very aggressive place, very aggressive. And I think that it just seemed to be so cutthroat. And if I'm honest, the one thing I took from it, I thought, well, hopefully we'll come out of this a bit more people focused and a bit more people centered. And I've kind of seen mixed messages. Some people are, and some people are, if not more aggressive than they ever were. Now that might be driven by business, I don't know. But the bottom line is, we're all people. Forget what you do. Forget what business you run. We're all people and we're all individuals. And I think that it's the fabric and the tapestry of what we're about that will actually make, it's the building blocks, isn't it? And we've all got things that we can share. And I think that we can come together. I think that there is a pent up need, and obviously we've got to be careful, but there's a pent up need for people to face. And I think that that's something hopefully moving towards, maybe as the weather gets better and we move through spring and summer, that we can have some events. But we all need to do our bit and support those events and just be totally open, and not all this, het up bull. It's good to just be honest and talk about what your issues are and challenges, again, professionally and personally. And we can unlock those, because there will not be one person that hasn't gone through what you've gone through.
I totally agree. And, you're right to touch on well-being, Carl, because well-being does come into business. And even our colleagues at the council here, they're going through this as well, and they'll be facing a lot of questions from business leaders, owners, needing help. Yeah. So everyone's going to be reaching out to them as well. So there's well-being from everybody. As you say, we're in this together. We want the pursuit of happiness. We want success. We want our borough to thrive. So it's on all of us. Absolutely all of us to do our bit. So I think that has been a bit of a recurring message, and I don't think we need to bang drum. I think we're all aligned with that. Yeah. But what we need to do is not only just be aligned to that, not only just think that, is actually take action to execute on that, to walk into one of those local shops and just say, hey, you probably had a tough time. I know how's things going. Be a bit more personal, maybe ask them stuff.
I think so.
And I know we always talk about, let's not try and buy online and this, that, so, but it's about trying to, put some actions in place, bringing people together from a business point of view with our teams as well, asking our teams, is everything okay? How can we help? Yeah. We've signed this pledge. What does the pledge mean to you personally as a team member? Because it's okay, you as a business owner signing the pledge, but your team have to also sign on to it as well. And, we're talking about things like, procuring locally, employing locally, volunteering locally. So yes, you sign the pledge, but the team, the business signs the pledge, doesn't it?
It does. No, it does, and I think it does run much deeper than that, and I think that the one sort of, if you like, open fear I have about something like this is that it doesn't just sort of get this, turbocharging now, and then in 6, 9, 12 months, it's sort of, it's sort of fallen back. I think that there is a good opportunity to sort of try and embed something here.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't use the word legacy because that sounds, but I just think it's something that should just become the norm. And yes, it might need some, hoo-ha around a pledge to launch it, but it actually just should be a way of thinking.
100%.
It should just be, you shouldn't actually be thinking, oh, well, I'm signing up for the pledge. You should just do what you do.
Yeah.
Doing what you do actually happens to be the pledge. But I understand it's got to be, shaped, and it's got to be promoted, and it's got to, and there's got to be certain benefits. But to be honest with you, you know what? If you're a business that you've got to be sold this pledge to, then you shouldn't be a business in the borough. That's what I would say.
Okay.
And that's a little bit harsh, I understand. But it shouldn't need to be. Every single business should be there. But I don't also believe that we should take a view and say, well, every business is signed up unless they don't. I think you need to step up to the plate and actually say, you know what, this is what we're doing. But for me, it's, there should not be a business in the borough that buys into what we're all trying to achieve. There should not actually be an individual in the borough that doesn't buy into that, because this isn't about scoring points. This is, as we've said, about making it a better place to live, work, and do business
and play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right then, so put in the comments if you're going to sign up. If you like, that was Carl's call to action there, rally cry. Okay, business owner, that's why you're here. Put in the comments if you're going to sign up for me, please. We've got Charlotte Brown in the green room, another CB, Carl Buckley, Charlotte Brown.
Hey,
it's the trend. Should we bring her in?
Yep.
Hi, Charlotte.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me.
Can you hear Charlotte? Now our friends at home, I would give you one of my lugs, but I won't stretch that far. Our friends at home can hear Charlotte. Maybe we should have had captions. Should need captions for me with my accent, actually. Charlotte, lovely of you to join us. I'm going to pop my other log in. Are you working from home? Are you in the office?
I am working from home. So we've already mentioned the pandemic. One of the key things for us at the port is to protect operations. So anybody, and we've obviously with the Omicron variants, we've been hit quite hard. So anybody that can work from home that isn't operational is working from home at the moment. So yes, unfortunately, I'm a little far away from you guys today. So apologies, I couldn't be with you.
It's funny, I was running some committee meetings last year for the local authority, and some of the guys would present in the committee meetings and they'd be in shirts and ties. Now, that was the first thing I couldn't help but saying, you're working from home with your shirt and tie on. Do you usually just rock around with your tie on at home? Well, I can't resist it. You've got your slippers on as well, Charlotte, haven't you? Come on.
It's the old newsreader,
Come on.
with the desk below the desk.
My uncle will be
She's got her Uggs on, great stuff. Well, again, thanks for joining us. I'm going to throw this question to you, Charlotte, and I really do appreciate your time. And I know Fridays can often be busy. What does the pledge mean to you, Charlotte? What does the pledge mean to the port? What is the port doing to encourage some of the kind of directives we've got within the pledge?
Well, I think, and I've heard it already this morning, is that the pledge, you can't disagree with it. Absolutely, it's fundamental to the way we should be living our lives. For us at the Port of Tyne, it absolutely is aligned to everything we're doing. Our strategic vision, our strategic objectives are totally aligned to the pledge. So for us, it was almost a no-brainer. We didn't have to think about signing up because it totally aligns to everything we do across our organisation. We're clearly part of the community. The community is really, really important to us because actually, without the community, we wouldn't have the port. Ultimately, we require a prosperous, driven, economically sustainable environment for us to still be here in another 2,000 years. And so for us, we've got to invest because we've got to invest in our future.
Another 2,000 years, Charlotte.
Another 2,000 years. Yeah, I won't be here. I just.
Will the river be here then? Wow.
Well, as long as we sort out the climate control issues, yes, it will. But you're right, we've got a lot to do to keep it here.
Yeah, in terms of the river though and the port, wow. I mean, it's thriving. I mean, you know, it's both north and south, isn't it? It's just, you know. Do you want to give us a little bit of a to get it in our mind's eye how big the actual port of South Tyneside is? The Port of Tyne.
Yeah, sure. So just to give you some background on the port, so ultimately we're custodians of the river. Really, we're responsible for up to 17 miles of the river, so that's right from the mouth all the way downstream. We obviously have operations both in the north side, which is predominantly the ferries, the cruise terminals, so the international passenger terminal. But actually, most of our operations are in South Shields. So most of our operational work sits in South Shields. So we're, for example, I appreciate you're a coffee drinker, but we're providing 40% of the UK's tea through our relationships with Ringtons and Tetley. We're one of the largest car importers. Clearly, there's some challenges around that at the moment, which we're all aware of, with issues around distribution of parts and chips, etc. But ultimately, we're really fundamental to not just the North East and the economy within the North, but actually the whole of the UK, because we import so many key products into the Port of Tyne. Ultimately, we've got 650 odd acres of operational land. Ultimately, that is a lot of land. It's a lot of management. It's a lot of responsibility, not just from an economic perspective, because clearly we provide a lot of jobs. We're ultimately responsible for up to 12,000 knock-on of jobs and across the region, but actually also from an environmental perspective. Yeah. It's really important, and we've got a Tyne 2050 programme, which is absolutely dedicated and actually aligns to the points of the pledge, which is why I say it's absolutely critical to us. But one of those key points is around sustainability from the environmental perspective as well. And I think that's something that you're right, not just as a business, but as the individuals we've got to take responsibility for. So for us, we have so many touch points. The region, the prosperity of the region, the skills, the workforce, our commitment to further education, supporting education within the community is absolutely key, because we need it. You know, we've got an awful lot to support.
It's funny, I just mentioned the car. I'm really sorry, Carl. I should have get you some headphones. We've just been talking there about, you know, from a business leader's point of view, you sign the pledge, but then that has to be filtered down to the team, you know, across management teams, and obviously you've got an awful great amount of employees there, you know, a big strong workforce. Is this something that you might push down, Charlotte, across the teams?
Yes, absolutely. I think, as I say, it aligns so well to our general corporate vision and the way we work and the way we operate as a business. So if I just take some of the examples of the sustainability side, we absolutely encourage every single one of our colleagues to come up with ideas around sustainability, how we can improve things. And we absolutely support that ideas generation from across our colleagues across the port. We have the first net zero warehouse, for example, and that came from within our business as an idea. But also we have, and this is probably an area where we can also improve, we have a number of initiatives to support the local community. So we're supporting South Shields Football Club, for example, Durham Cricket, providing coaching into local schools. and also on the Breakfast Foundation in partnership with Greg's. But a lot of those currently are not necessarily employee driven. And I think what we'd like to do, we offer all of our colleagues volunteering days. I know Carl picked up on that earlier, is that we should all invest in providing our colleagues and staff the opportunity to do work and work in the community. We absolutely do that. And I think what we need to do better is join up the initiatives that we're already investing in with, in fact, those volunteering days. So that's something we, as a result of the pledge, are actually going to do differently. We're going to put some real energy and effort into making sure that our colleagues who have these volunteering days know what they can do. Because we all know we can go litter picking. We pick up a bag and off you go. But actually, it's sometimes very difficult to know where to start. You know, how do you get in contact with a local initiative or a local community that needs your help? So I think both through the pledge, working across, and we almost will be that interim with our colleagues across the board, we can actually work together to make sure that we are, you know, allowing our colleagues to access those opportunities.
That is a fantastic point, Charlotte, and maybe from the business invest team, maybe they might want to pick that up in terms of being able to be that conduit to say, you know, which initiatives need help, who can help, and then, you know, marry us together. And, you know, we've got a comment there saying, you know, we'd love support from the Port of Tyne in helping us achieve our goals. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know people exist, these initiatives exist, so we need this to, you know, be out there and visible.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we often get a little bit tunnel visioned on, and I know Carl talked about, it's not just about business, and it's true, it's not just about business. We can become a little tunnel visioned about that. Actually, if we don't have a sustainable environment to work in, or even a sustainable community to work in, then we don't have a business. So they all three have to come hand in hand together.
And this is not something we deliberately do by, you know, being blind or tunnel vision. It just happens over time because we're busy and that sort of stuff. So, you know, a whole part of this pledge is to burst open this kind of, you know, visibility and say, look, you know, we're here. So this pledge is just mainly a catalyst for us all to now come out of, you know, the woodwork and say, right, how can we do this together?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and Carl actually picks up, it's not just about ticking a box. It's not about signing up, because, okay, that's good. But it's not just about that. This is about genuinely doing something different. And I think by signing up, you're making that first step. You're almost taking some responsibility for having to do something now, because we've signed up. But actually, action drives more action. Also, I'm conscious now suddenly we've got a platform of collaboration. And let's be honest, a collective can often produce more, result in more, and achieve more than individuals. So I think we've got to work more collaboratively. This is a forum and an opportunity to be able to do that, and a platform to be able to do that. So I think we need to crack on and use it. Quite honestly, it's fantastic.
Action makes more action. Did you say? I love that.
It does, yeah. Action creates more action. Yeah.
Taking that as a little soundbite, you're missing all sorts of gold here, Carl. Amazed. So, Charlotte, you know, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for yesterday as well and doing a little sound check. Our Misha said you were a lovely lady. She was not wrong. You are. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot. It means a lot to us for the port to sign. You know, again, you're a huge supporter of the borough. So, you know, thanks for that. Any parting shots, Charlotte, before we go?
Really just that we welcome input from other parties. We really want to work collaboratively and would welcome any collaboration or any inputs to continue that. I think for me, this has got to be us actually doing something. So really, please do get in touch with either myself or other members of the port, or if there's other community projects we can help with. We're really keen to get involved. So yeah, really, it's kind of an open invitation.
Wonderful stuff. I won't put your email address online because you'll be
not that.
Listen, thank you so much once again, Charlotte. You know, and make it a great weekend as well. You know, you need some time off, right? You need to rest and recharge. We all need to do that as well from a well-being point of view. So thank you so much. You make it a great weekend.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You missed a treat there, Carl. I'm so sorry. We should have had headphones for you.
Don't worry.
Whoa, wow, we've had lots of rallying cries there.
Yeah.
There's this will be our Lindsay from Invest. Thanking our guests, and yes, thank you so much. As you can see there is the link that'll be in the comments. You can click that, or you can see the banner rolling on the bottom. So a call to action from us is sign. Sign, and from a PR point of view, I think that's one of the main things. Yes, giving back, but also just to let everybody know you're there. We want to kind of support each other. We're rolling. We've done a roll call.
Yeah.
If you sign, if you don't tell us, we don't know. So we need to know you're there. So get involved. Get sharing this. Tell your colleagues. Tell your friends that are next door to you in businesses. That you might email. That might be suppliers, customers of yours. Let them know about the pledge. I want 20 or 30 people pledging by the end of the day.
Let's get, and I'm sure the Invest team can maybe tap into this, but I mean, a starter again, every school should sign up.
Okay.
Every school, academy, primary school should sign up to this.
Okay.
So that there's a group, because they have a big part to play with younger people. They're very connected. They've obviously got parents, infrastructure. So I think that's a starter as well for 10. This doesn't necessarily, as we say, just about, there are a number of public sector organizations on there as well, but this needs to be a mix, because we've all got a lot to share and be on each other's radars as well.
Yeah. I'd like to see as well more micro businesses, Carl.
Yes.
Some of these wonderful businesses that we walk through villages and within the borough, and we stop and we buy a coffee there or whatever it might be. I'd love to see more of those involved as well. So if you do use some of these small micro businesses, wonderful organizations we've got who've took the risk to start a business, to put the sign above a shop and to serve us, let them know there's such a thing as a pledge, and let them know there's support there for them. And there's events that we'll be putting on, as things ease up, to attend, to network, and to support one another as well. Right, this has been a bit like Children in Need. We've had rallying cries and sign up, and we should have one of them text things, shouldn't we? Text. We should. Right, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor, share this. Okay, share this. Like the page as well. Invest South Tyneside page, because we do more of these. We do lots of business talks with our friends in the borough, and they drop so much value, so much gold. And as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, as an employee, as an intrapreneur, so you might be entrepreneurial within a business, it can be a lonely journey. So you've got all the support. You're hearing from people likes of Carl, Michael, whoever. You're hearing stories, and it can be quite nice to understand that it's not just us, not just you going through these same. We've all got these same.
Pop that bubble. That's the phrase. Pop that bubble and step out and see what might be out there.
Good stuff. Right, I'm going to let you go and get on with your Friday, my friends. Thank you so much again for watching. We'll be back with another fantastic business talk very soon. Sign that pledge. Thank you so much.